Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Last week, I told you about how anti-gun politicians Lucas Kunce and Adam Kinzinger joined forces to ignore gun safety rules and got a reporter shot. And apparently, the guy who set up the range and who was hanging out with the dweebs all day long is maybe not allowed to have access to weapons as part of a bond condition, according to a motion filed by his ex-wife. Yeah. Now, in my opinion, an ex-wife is either a very good or a very bad judge of a man's character. But apparently, the guy who is at least partly responsible for two anti-gun politicians shooting steel targets at close range with rifles and getting a reporter shot is named Chad Downs. And he was accused of 17 counts of felony perjury in relation to a felony child abuse case, which had been dropped. It's entirely possible Chad is completely innocent, but his case is currently pending, and according to this article in the Kansas City Star, as a condition of the bond he agreed to, Downs is not supposed to be near guns.
What are the odds of that?
What I couldn't determine from the article is which one of these people he is.
Oh, hey gang. How are y'all today? Spicy here. Just wanted to stop and thank you guys for watching. We appreciate y'all keeping us gainfully employed and allowing us to fight the good fight against the control freaks. So you might have noticed I highlighted old boy in the middle of that group photo earlier. So it turns out we were doing some Googling last night and discovered that he actually broke OPSEC and commented on a Facebook page. And that's how a couple of these articles that I found are now directly naming this man, Chad Everett Downs, in which the photographers that were at the photo shoot originally at this PR event, they only put another man in all of their captions. So obviously they knew who the dude was, but he had asked not to be named, and I think that was how it went. So now, fast forward to he's defending himself on Facebook, and I guess he doesn't know how the internet works, so the internet's gonna let him know real quick, and I'm sure they're gonna respond with, you know, kindness and thoughtful comments and understanding of his situation. You know, that's how the internet works. You may have saw from his Facebook page, it also says he's an NRA certified, oh wait, that's his counselor. He claims he told him not to do those things on Facebook, that ended up getting the reporter shot, and naturally people, you know, they roasted him for it on Facebook. Surprise. He also said that he would be happy to do an interview for $5,000, and he even recorded video evidence showing the distance, but did not want to, you know, provide that for free. Just a little editor cut and note. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate y'all. I am curious to see how much more stupidity we can get out of this story, because it is really a gift that keeps on giving. So until next time, thanks for watching the news.
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory.
Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the pews with their binary firing system, because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong.
And by Vortex. Their new Defender line features a constant on emitter with no flicker and shake awake, so it's always ready. The Defender CCW is impressively compact for daily carry. The ST is a bit larger, and the XL is an absolute beast with one of the largest windows available on a micro red dot. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. The Houston Police Department wants you to sit by and idly watch while civilization crumbles around you. I know that sounds awfully melodramatic, but they recently posted video urging residents not to do anything about thefts.
I'm Sergeant Hicks with the Houston Police Department's Auto Theft Crimes Task Force. Across the country, we're hearing of people trying to recover their own stolen property. Please do not do that.
Why? Because you guys are so good at getting our stuff back? The Houston Police Department solved about 5.3% of the property crimes reported to them this year.
Here's what you should do. Report the crime immediately. The sooner we get the information, the better the chances of the recovery. Provide any relevant information. If you have trackers, pictures, leads, avoid confronting the suspect, even if you know who it is. Stepping into a volatile situation can make things worse. Stay informed, stay in contact with us. Your safety is our top priority. No piece of property is worth you risking your life.
He sounds pretty chill. He's just worried about my safety, right? So, I mean, why am I freaking out about this? Because we all have to take responsibility for our neighborhoods. Cops can't do anything at all to stop, prevent, or even deter this type of crime. Crooks get away with it more than 94% of the time, so while they probably won't steal from you right in front of a cop, they take what they please the second he's gone, confident they won't get caught. That's why it's so important for all of us to be involved as much as we can be. I'm not telling you to do anything illegal or take on a risk you're uncomfortable with, but crossing the street is dangerous, and so is maintaining a civilized nation. Thieves, vandals, and thugs should feel uncomfortable and unsafe in your neighborhood, not you. They should feel like they are constantly being watched, and they should feel like they risk arrest at any second because you keep your property well lit and clean, and you take walks in your neighborhood, and your dog barks loudly when you see somebody doing something shady. You talk to them about it, right?
Whatever it is, it scares me.
You don't need to be rude or aggressive or infringe on anyone's rights, of course, but this cop has no authority to tell you what you're allowed to say and where you may go. And who the hell is he to tell me I'm not willing to risk my life for property? What if that property had extreme sentimental value? What if it was a purse that contained my daughter's EpiPen and she just got stung by a bee? What if it was my favorite New Kids on the Block t-shirt? I mean, maybe I am willing to risk my life for it. Whatever it was, it must be pretty special because the thief was willing to risk his life for it. Why shouldn't I also be willing to risk my safety for my neighborhood? In the long run, that does keep me and my family safer anyway, doesn't it? What do you guys think? Should we rely entirely on police to deter and apprehend criminals, or is there a reasonable role for private citizens to play here? The Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General just issued a memo which amounts to sternly whimpering about how the DEA and FBI essentially gave away free slides and barrels for years.
I can't believe I missed that.
According to the memo, both agencies would routinely toss the upper half of handguns, which were slated for destruction, into an actual barrel. When an employee had an issued gun that, for whatever reason, needed to be destroyed, he or she would disassemble the gun and chuck the slide and barrel into a 55-gallon drum and then turn in the frame for destruction. This barrel-o parts was in a room accessible to literally anybody who had access to any part of Quantico. Like the same level of security that is needed to get to the cafeteria. What an oddly specific thing to discover though, right? I mean, what would cause the Inspector General to come across this particular deficiency? Local cops arrested some fine, upstanding young lad with one of those ghost guns, and when they asked the ATF to trace the serial numbers of the slide and barrel, they came back to the DEA.
We traced the call. It's coming from inside the house.
Records say they destroyed the gun, and from there, the feds pieced everything else together. So the OIG issues some recommendations. The FBI and the DEA are like, cool, bro, and we did all that. Like, totally trust us and stuff. And they've always been super honest about everything in the past, so there's totally no reason to ever distrust them. Besides, it was probably just that one slide and barrel that got stolen. In all those untold years, the feds left literal barrels of gun parts out for anybody to take. Now, before you go all, if I did that down there in the comments, I want to remind you, they didn't actually break any laws, and neither would you. I mean, obviously, whoever was stealing gun parts was breaking the law, but if you had access to truckloads of other people's money and could afford to lose barrels of gun parts like the feds can, There's actually no federal law against leaving a 55-gallon drum full of gun parts out at, say, a bus station, so far as I know. Then again, I'm not a lawyer because my mother loves me, and this is not legal advice. After a month in use, those fancy new Evolve AI scanners in New York City have failed to find one single gun so far. Can you believe it? Shocking, right? But they have managed to produce false positives about 4% of the time.
Well, isn't that special?
Of course, these newfangled sensors are not really artificial intelligence. They employ a suite of sensors, probably optical, magnetic, and maybe RF, and they use software to compare live images to large trained models. They'll probably have fewer false positives with more use, but they'll never stop being oddly Orwellian invasions of our privacy, am I right? And now, for your moment of zen.
What happened?
Dude, we keep having failures with this thing. I don't know what it is.
Honestly, it might be
I think
an
it could be the mag. I don't know. I can't figure. It could be that it's also a 3D printed piece of shit. That might have something to do with it. Just a hunch.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pew American pew banana at the low price of $3.99? We literally couldn't pay our bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.